Hey, kia ora, Helen Brahms here, coming live from Mesa in Arizona. Hope you're all having a super fantastic, sparkling start to your Saturday. And it being Saturday, it means it's Shake It Up Saturday. I'm going to shake it up a little bit for you. And yes, I know it's early. We've already been up. We've had a 30-minute run around the dog park. Well, Zeffie had a 30-minute run around the dog park. We went for a nice long walk. We sat outside for a few minutes. We've got the porridge on. The kettle's just boiled. And we're off to an amazing start to our day already. So we've already got a lot accomplished. Only because somebody woke me up and said, I need out. So that's why we're up so early. But today's all about the word can't. And I found a really great story in the Chicken Soup for the Soul, Think Positive, Live Happy. And it's called The Can Man. And boy, do I have some stories about can't. But when I read this, I was like, oh my gosh, this is... Hang on, I've got to wait for the beeping to stop. It means that my porridge is done, but I now have to let it sit. The cooking side of it's done. It now has to sit and absorb. And it'll be ready in about 15, 20 minutes. So it comes out perfect every time. If you haven't had steel cut oats before, most people use like instant oatmeal and stuff. But I tell you, steel cut oats done in the Instapot, it takes probably about 30 minutes all up by the time you put the water in there, you put the oats in there, you seal it up. It gets up to pressure, it cooks for 5 minutes, and then you let it stand for 15 to 20 minutes. It comes out perfect every time. It is yummy. And the cool part about steel cut oats is that they're actually gluten-free. So there's something in the process of steel cut oats into regular oatmeal that causes the gluten to come out or something. I'm not a scientist. I don't know all the ins and outs of it. All I know is that steel cut oats are gluten-free. That's all I know. And they taste really good. And I like them because it reminds me of all those winter days when my mum used to make us porridge every morning for breakfast. I love my porridge. Brown sugar and milk, although these days I use brown sugar and cream and sprinkle a few chocolate chips on top. Yeah, sometimes I put some craisins on there as well. Yeah, but I'm out of craisins, so maybe I'll put some coconut on there today. But I like to dress it up, do different things with it. What's your favourite way of having oats in the morning, if you have oats in the morning? Anyway, back to the Can Man. So the quote that's here today, it says, and then I'll tell you my can't stories. Know that you can, believe that you can, and know with all of your heart that you will. You will succeed in spite of any obstacles that may try to hinder you. And that's by Stephanie Lahart. So the story today is called The Can Man. I love this story. It reminded me so much of my teenage years. And at the end of the story, I'll tell you why it reminds me so much of teenage years. Maybe partway through. I don't know. Anyway. When I was a teenager, my favorite word was can't. I can't dance, I can't do this homework. I would usually do these things anyway, but only after first saying that I couldn't. The summer after I turned 14, I was in Spokane for my annual 3-week visit with my father, and he got to hear my constant can't mantra firsthand. As he often did on my yearly visits, he took me to sit in on the marketing class he was teaching at the local college. I was getting ready to tune out and tune into my book when one of his students said, I can't understand, in reference to something in the curriculum. My dad stood at the front of the room and said, no. It seemed out of character for the laid-back southern guy, but there he was going off on the word can't. Can't has no business in this classroom, he said. It's bad enough I get it from her, he pointed at me. But she's young yet and hasn't figured out that can't is the worst 4-letter word in the English language. Ooh. His students just stared at him for a minute, and I put down my book. My dad's tangents were the stuff of legend in my life and always funny, but that's why companies paid him to come in and motivate their employees for a couple of hours. He had a great stage presence and a knack for making things understandable. I think his classes were probably pretty interesting for his students. With everyone's eyes on him, he started pacing the front of the classroom, turning off the projector and changing the day's lesson plan. 4-letter words are impolite in mixed company, and my daughter is sitting there. But we all know what those words are. A few 4-letter words can get thrown around like they aren't offensive, and chief among them is can't. If you're going to stand there and tell me you can't, you've already failed. You've already convinced yourself you can't, and nothing I say or do is going to convince you otherwise, he explained. Your homework, and yours too, daughter dear, is to go home and find yourself a can. Get one of those big markers and write the words can on it. Every time you say can't this week, I want you to write down what you can't do and put it in the can. At the end of the week, go through them and see how many opportunities you missed because you think you can't. Turn each of those can'ts into can and see how much you can achieve. When we got back to his house after class and dinner at my favorite restaurant, he actually made me make my own can. All the things in my can were things I actually could do. I just didn't want to put in the effort. As a kid, his can made me roll my eyes, but as an adult, I think he was pretty on point. 25 years later, going through his things after he passed, I found the printouts he'd made for his class for several years after the first one. Joe's can became a regular lesson in his classes, and the point was that there are enough obstacles in life without becoming one yourself. Good lesson there. Now my children are the petulant teenagers with great affection for the word can't, and I'm seriously considering having them make their own can. My dad was the ultimate can man. He never met a can't he couldn't turn into a can. And that's from Sarah Wagner. What a great, great story. So my can't story is I used to coach gymnastics many years ago. I started coaching when I was 13 and had to give it up when I was 23. So for 10 years I would hear, and it was recreation and gymnastics. And for years I would hear kids turn around and say, I can't do that, I can't do that. So my comeback for them, remember I was aged 13 to 23, one of the kids told me I can't. I said, can't is not a word. They go, yes, it is. And I'm like, no, it's not. I said, and this is the day before before computers and internet. So, well, during the transition time, but before, it was definitely before the internet. Days before computers and internet. And they were telling me that can't was what I said, no, it's not. I says, you bring me your dictionary. So you go home, you look it up in the dictionary. If you find it, you bring me the dictionary and you show me the word can't. I said, if it's not in the dictionary, it's not a word. And we do not use it here in this gym class. I said, now get your butt on the mat or get your butt on the bars or the beam, whatever the equipment was, and get it done. Remember, I was 13 when I started doing this. Did I use can't as a teenager? Absolutely. I've missed many opportunities over the years. When I read that story about how, doing the can thing, and I was thinking of all the things I said can't to, and all the opportunity. Now I think back when I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, I missed all those opportunities because I kept saying can't. And like I told my gym kids, can't is not a word. It's not in the dictionary. And not one student in the 10 years I was coaching, when I turned around and told them that can't wasn't a word and to bring me their dictionary and show me the word in the dictionary where it said can't, not one student bought me the dictionary to show me the word. Not one. So they knew that excuse was out the window. They had to give 110% when they were in my gym classes. When I was coaching gymnastics with my kids, it was, I want 110% effort in here. There is no such word as can't. It's not in the dictionary, and if it is, bring me the dictionary and show me. And in 10 years, all the kids I coached over those 10 years, not one student could bring me the dictionary and show me the word can't. So in my word, I like the fact that it's a 4-letter word, that this guy points out that it's the 4-letter word. It's one of the first in because it's putting obstacles. Like he said, there are so many obstacles out there that we face in life that we don't need to turn ourselves into one. So for your Shake It Up Saturday, make your own can, and every time you think you can't do something, turn around and, because I also learned too over the last several years, with Brad and cancer and stuff, I learned that can't didn't have a place when you're talking about treatments and health and everything like that. And I learnt for business-wise that instead of saying, I can't do something, turn it around and say, how can I do this? And I've been sitting in mastermind classes and training sessions and stuff, and a really good idea would hit, and I'm like, okay, it may not work for my business this way, but how can I make it work for my business? Or how can I apply this to my life? Or how can I make that tweak so something works? It's never I can't, it's always how can I? So instead of the next time you I can't do something, turn around and say, how can I change this, or how can I make this work? And see what a difference that makes. It's all in the attitude. So start taking that 4-letter word can't and tossing it out of your vocab and replacing it with how can I? That's my words of wisdom for today. Have a super fantastic sparkling Shake It Up Saturday. Go out and do something you've never done before. And instead of saying I can't do that, say how can I? Remember that. Go out, have some fun. Let us know what you get up to today. Would love to hear some of your first time things on things. I'm not even sure what we're going to do as a first time thing today, because yeah, the only time we're going outside right now is to walk Zeffy. This is my camp keeping my distance thing. We'll get groceries delivered when we need them, but we just campgrounds are great places for self-isolation. I tell you, they're great places. And we've got our little seating area out there, so we might go and sit out there later on today and in the shade and take some water outside with us. I'll put her on the long lead and let her roam around the patio area that we have out there, and just do something different today. So you'll probably go sit outside in the chairs at some point. We've already done a nice sit outside today. We've had she had a 30-minute run around the dog park. We went for a nice long walk, and this was before the sun came up, or as the sun was rising. So it was nice and cool and absolutely gorgeous out there this morning. And so we went for a nice long walk, came back. We sat outside for about 15, 20 minutes before it was sort of like the stomach was sort of like, I want some food. And and Ziffy was starting to whine, which meant that she needed water. And so we came inside, and she went straight to her bowls, had some water, and then she started doing her crazy run. So my perfectly made bed is now a mess again. So now I have to go make the bed again. And she's... What you doing, Zeph? Zeffy? What you doing? She's busy looking out the window there today in her favourite spot. I'm just sitting here in the recliner. My porridge is ready because I just heard the thing go drop, which is the pressure valve thingy. It just dropped, which means that my breakfast is ready. So have a super fantastic sparkling Shake It Up Saturday. Go do something that you've always said I can't do. And instead to ask yourself, how can I? And see if you can make a difference in your life today. Have a super fantastic sparkling Shake It Up Saturday. He konera.